Right, welcome back everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. It's been an interesting, well, so far an interesting season. Let's take a look at some of the logs now in where we're standing at the moment. In Super League A, we see UCT sitting at the top of the pile, followed by Brackenfell, Villages, Marties, Helderberg, St. George's and Durban. Those 6 teams are occupying the top 6 spots, followed then by Durban and Tygerberg. In Super League B, Franschhoek are sitting at number 1 on the log, followed by All Saints, Belleville, Carlamore, and SK Warmers, and then Hands and Hearts, Strand, and Belhar. Super League C sees Goodwood still at the top of the pile. They had their first loss this weekend. Then it's Hammerdeers, Macassar, Peneel Villages, Scottsdene, and Eerste Rivier. Let's quickly pause there. Faisal, Eerste Rivier will be happy with that win over Scottsdene. Also brings them a little bit up, closer up on the log there, but good result.
No, definitely. I think a win is a win, and you know, when it's so close, every point matters and every point counts.
Yeah, all right, folks. Those are, of course, interesting pictures for us then as we take a look at those logs. And everybody, as Faisal says, every team will be looking now to make sure that they get themselves back on track. This is going to be another fascinating weekend. Let's take a look now at some of the fixtures coming up then. We'll start off with Super League A. NTK up against Durban. Kales River take on St. George's. It's going to be Brackenfell and Villages. Hamlets and Helderberg, Unimill and Hamiltons, and False Bay and Tygerberg. Jerome, any games to jump out for you there?
Yes, it's great games. All these games are good. I mean, the game there, Kales River, St. George's, Kales River is looking for points, so that's going to be a good game. And I also think False Bay, Tygerberg, because False Bay is also down there, so they also need points.
Faisal, from your side?
Yeah, and I think, you know, also looking at Milnerton, Hamilton's, I mean, all these games, I think it's everybody needs points, everybody's looking for points, everybody needs wins. So, you know, the one thing is, I think we're nearing that halfway mark if you look at the logs. So points are vital and key. I think we looked at the logs and you had UCT on top. You know, so a lot of these teams need to play catch up now. So it's going to be, you know, vital to get points.
So, Jerome, NTK took a big knock against Stellenbosch, against Marties. They are coming up against Durban. This is a formidable outfit. It's a bit of a derby match. NTK will be wanting to make sure that they stand their ground this weekend.
Yeah, I think, look, it's going to be tough for them, but I think the most important thing for them is this weekend, if there's points on offer, they must take the points.
Yeah. Yeah, right, folks. We've got some barometers coming up for you in a second. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of the other fixtures coming up. Langa are up against Paul in Super League B, followed by SK Warmers. Vineyards up against, at least SK Warmers against Carlamore. Vineyards and Belleville. All Saints take on Hands and Hearts. Collegians up against Franschhoek. Belhar and are hosting Young Peoples this weekend. And then Strand are hosting Primrose. In Super League C, we see Peneel Villages up against Rangers. Kraaifontein and Busy Bees. Morningstar and Blue Stars, Goodwood, Masiphumelele. Albions are up against Macassar, while in the City League is Western Zebras and Silvertree. Callies and Manenberg Rangers, Gardens and Violets and Police up against Young Ideas. In the Southern League is Titans and NRFC against and then Rocklands hosting, well, there's a derby match for you, Rocklands and Peninsula. Faisal, would you say that's a bit of a derby, Rocklands and Peninsula?
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of history there. You know, Rocklands, Peninsula, and that there. I think every game is a big game, is a derby game.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracker. In the Northern League, let's take a look at the fixtures there. Strand United up against Whistling Wheels. Gordon Bay Pioneers against Blakes. Delft and Wraithby. Solarians and Windmill United. And Excelsior are hosting Corries. And then, of course, in the Paarl region, it's Young Standards and Lower Paarl. Parallel United and Simondium. Paarl Rangers, Allendale, and Young Gardens up against Riverstones. And then the Metro League, we see Fisanta Kral against Perseverance. Young Brothers host Progress. Bishop Lavis host Imikawi. Silverleaf host Lamont Wanderers. And Watsonia are a 1 and 2 clash in the Metro League, as they, of course, are up against Temperance and Cities. And then in the Women's League, folks, this is going to be a great weekend for you. Brackenfell, Busy Bees, and Tygerberg. Ladies against False Bay. Big games there in the Women's League, Faisal, Brackenfell and Busy Bees, and then Tygerberg and False Bay.
No, definitely. I think the top contenders, Brackenfell, Busybees, and Tygerberg and False Bay are all teams. Last couple of seasons have been coming and progressing, and so there's a lot of good work. I think when it comes to women's rugby, that sometimes we don't notice, and that there. I think the one great thing this year that we have is a lot of depth. We've got a lot of youngsters. We've got an under 20 group where we're starting now to start focusing not only on the senior players. We're looking at the next level, which is under 20s and that there. So we've got a high performance program that's running for them as well. So I think when it comes to club rugby, the players, are training with us on a Monday, Tuesday, the Thursdays they go back to the clubs. So we're looking at trying to, sort of level that playing field in terms of conditioning. And
so you've got the women's rugby players with you Mondays and Tuesdays at the High Performance Centre, and then of course on Wednesdays they're back to their clubs, and then they prepare for the weekend.
Yeah. So the senior team, they normally train Monday, Tuesdays, and a Thursday. Once the team is announced, they're released on the Tuesday. We've also got a group of youngsters, that have played provincial rugby, youngsters that we've identified from under 20 group. So we're starting to work, the possibility of having a under 20 IPL. We're working towards that. So I think we're sort of on track in terms of youth and players coming through. And planning and preparation, I think from our side, it's been good this season.
I mean, this is what you've been doing with club rugby for so long, is making sure that clubs have an opportunity to move into a higher league.
Yeah.
If you look at that now, if you look at the teams, I mean, if you just take a look at those teams that are playing this weekend, you've got Brackenfell, Busybees, and Tygerberg and False Bay. We know Marty's and a number of other teams out there, women's rugby teams. But for those ladies that are now playing at their clubs, they actually know they have an opportunity. They've got a growth opportunity.
Yeah. I think the one thing also to understand is, women's rugby, we're growing it. So when you look at club rugby, it's also about how we're going to grow women's rugby. So when we look at it, we've got two sections, an A section and sort of a B section with new clubs, new teams that are playing. But I think the one thing that we've done this year as well, which we've tried to look at, is a regional team as well, in the sense that, when the clubs are not playing and province is playing, we have a regional team where we take sort of the best players. We're looking at taking the best players from the clubs that will play in the regional team. So we sort of try and balance the field, but also it gives us opportunity to identify new talent coming through that we can start working with. So there's lots happening at women's rugby. I think there's a nice sort of understanding in terms of the structure and how it works and how it should work as well.
Yeah. Right, folks. Well, of course, as you know, we every week take a look at some of our barometers. Right, so let's take a look. Our first barometer for the weekend then is, of course, Brackenfell against Villagers. Now, Jerome, you can see on the screen here what we're seeing is that the barometer says that it's in favour of Brackenfell, 45-17. So there are some odds there, but the odds are heavily in favour of Brackenfell. And what we are seeing there is that currently Brackenfell are scoring at home an average of 29 points. Villagers are scoring away from home an average of 24 points. In terms of the points against on the log so far, Brackenfell have had more points scored against them. Interestingly enough, Brackenfell's win percentage is only at 50%, and the Villagers' win percentage is at 60%. So, although Villagers is stronger on their win percentage, Brackenfell have got the odds against them, at least in their favour. And from an interesting rugby perspective, both of these teams are scoring 4 tries per game. But if you add it all together on paper, and I know that you're probably a little bit nervous about these predictions, on paper, the barometer says that Brackenfell's going to win this game.
Yeah, it seems like your barometer says that, but I don't think that odds, it's a bit way high, 47, 17, and I know fan factor, you know what's going on at Brackenfell, they've got a lot of, the old crowd will still be there, but it's pretty even, and if I look at it's 2 and 3, so it's going to be a dog fight. It's not going to be an easy one.
So let's take a look at another prediction here. Now, this one's a little bit closer. Now, this time we're looking at False Bay against Tygerberg, Jerome. So this is a 12 and 8. Of course, False Bay is currently 12 on the log, and Tygerberg sitting at number 8 on the log. Now, again, early days for False Bay. We know that they're still getting the wheels turning. They've got a 25% win rate at the moment. Tygerberg's got a 40% win rate. And if we look at the home average for False Bay, they're scoring at home at the moment 17 points per game versus Tygerberg. When they play away from home, they're scoring more. They're scoring 27. Now, then of course there are a few factors there. Currently False Bay are scoring on average per game 3 tries per game. Tygerberg's only scoring 2 tries per game. It's a very, very close game at the moment here because points against, points for, both are very equal. The barometer is essentially saying that this is a 50-50 game.
Yeah, I would say that I think it would be more 50-50 if you look at the fan factor where, like, obviously False Bay's got 10. I think it would be 5-5. It would be like equal 21.
Yeah,
21
yeah, of
each.
course the fan factors in False Bay's favor.
Yeah, but just a challenge, I think I mentioned it last week, it's Tygerberg away from home. Sometimes they tend to struggle. At Tygerberg, you know they're dangerous, but they need to get points away from home also.
Well, Barometer says that Tygerberg's doing fine away from home at the moment, scoring more points away from home, Faisal, than False Bay scoring at home.
No, I think, again, you know, look at Tygerberg's wins that they've had. No one, you know, thought they would win. And I think, you know, the hunger for them and being an underdog and that, I think, you know, Tygerberg's going to come out guns blazing. They've got something to prove. I'm going to say Tygerberg.
Faisal, your plans for the weekend?
It's a bit of club rugby this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's the last break, you know, then we start, you know, we've got some tournaments happening as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. See you again hopefully next week.
Definitely.
Right, folks, that's a wrap from us then today. We'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. A fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.